Out front now, Van Jones, former special advisor to President Obama, and Scott Jennings, former senior advisor to Senate Minority Leader McConnell and former special assistant to President George W. Bush. So, Scott, one of Trump's tactics, we all remember, right? Paint a political opponent as different and possibly un-American, right? He did it all the time. Now we're seeing that very same tactic being used by a former Trump insider against Trump's preferred candidate, Dr. Oz. I mean, that's a lot. Scott, is Pompeo turning on Trump here?
Well, I think there are 2024 implications here, Aaron. Frankly, you've got Pompeo, who wants to run for president, obviously, lining up against his former boss. And candidly, if you're the McCormick campaign and you want to go down this line of attack, what better surrogate could you have to deliver an attack like this, whether you think it's fair or valid, than a former United States Secretary of State? And so Pompeo dipping into one of the biggest Senate races in the country, in my opinion, has 2024 implications written all over it. He'd love to best Trump in this race and say, hey, look at me, my endorsement matters.
I want to ask you about Mark Esper. So the New York Times reports that the former defense secretary, Mark Esper, has a new book. We know he has a new book, but they say they've read it. In it, they say Trump asked Esper in 2020 about launching missiles into Mexico to destroy the drug labs, that was a quote, and kill cartel members, arguing that, quote, no one would know it was us. Okay, Scott, we've seen what a country does when they just go throw missiles into another country, right? Mexico is a sovereign country. Is this revelation, though, going to tarnish Trump's image among his loyalists, or the opposite?
No, the opposite. I mean, look, I sit out here in Kentucky, as you know, and states like this have been ravaged by illegal fentanyl coming over the border. I mean, let's be honest. If Joe Biden had proposed this, we'd be having a panel right now, celebrating his bold leadership. The only reason people are crazy about this is because Trump proposed it. We've been using the U.S. military to fight the overseas drug war for years. I did a little research before the show. I saw an article in USA Today. U.S. military expands drug war in Latin America. You know when it came? February 2013, when Obama and Biden were in before. We used the military to fight the drug war. People in middle America are dying from this illegal fentanyl. I don't see what the big deal is. And you asked me specifically, do Trump's people like this? Heck yeah. And they wish he'd already done it.
That's what I think it is.
Scott, okay, here's the thing, though, in terms of, some people, this whole, how do you take Trump? And that they maybe people would like that he spoke that way, but nobody actually thinks he would do those sorts of things. I remember a conversation with Trump 12 years ago when he told me he wanted to bomb all the oil fields in Saudi Arabia. That was before he was president. Now, we hear this from the Defense Secretary Esper. Does anybody remember 2 months ago when the war started and Trump briefly kind of took on Putin, who today he called a genius again, and said, well, let's just fly over and bomb the hell out of Putin and put Chinese writing on the side of our planes and no one will know it was us? I mean, Scott, it's the same thing. Does he just not mean any of it seriously?
I mean, I never know which part he means seriously and which part, he's just throwing in as an aside. But I'm going to tell you something right now. This drug war is serious business. The drug deaths are serious business. The idea that he was trying to think of something out of the box, people would have responded to that. I know some folks think it sounds crazy, but people would have responded to that. And I'm not even sure why he would throw in, they'll never know it was us, because I would think look, American presidents have been sending our military to other countries to fight the drug war since the Reagan years. I mean, this is not necessarily a new idea. It's a little more dramatic, but we do this all the time.
We're now